Hello. Welcome to Module 10 of That's English. I'm Kieran.
And I'm Samantha.
We've got some great programmes for you in this module, and we're sure you'll enjoy them.
So, let's get started. Now, you remember Danny, Anthony and Karen. They share a house together.
Our first episode is about a friend of Karen's who decided to change her life.
While you watch the video, answer this question. What does Judith do now?
Who writes this stuff? Do you need to change your life?
What?
Are you at a crossroads in your life? Answer these questions and turn your life around. Really?
Sometimes those quizzes can be revealing.
They're not going to change your life though, are they? Try this one. Before undertaking your last big decision or project, had you set yourself personal goals and targets?
Well...
Obviously, I do it all the time. Take last night. After watching the news, I decided it was time for dinner. So, I microwaved a ready meal. But not before I'd written out a 10-point action plan.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. But then the question, do you express your creativity on a regular basis, occurred to me. So, on removing my seafood dish from the microwave, I sprinkled it with a dash of chili sauce.
What a brilliant idea. You'll be on MasterChef next. And did you eat this wonderful creation?
I did. I'd been watching it cook for 6 minutes and I was starving.
And was it good?
No. Absolutely disgusting. I've been cooking it on the defrost setting by mistake. What are you looking at?
It's a website for a company that sells African fabrics and designs. It's owned by a friend of mine called Judith. After we'd been working together at Femme magazine for 3 or 4 years, she decided she'd had enough of journalism. She was always really glamorous. Look.
Oh, wow.
I'm writing an article about ethical trading. I'd been looking for someone to interview for ages, and when I saw this, I knew I'd found the perfect candidate. She's coming over later for coffee and a chat.
Brilliant. Oh, must go. Have a great time with Judith.
You look good, but quite different to how you used to look. What happened? Why the change of direction? Didn't they ask you to be the fashion editor?
Yes, they did, but deep down I wasn't satisfied with the direction my life was going in. We'd been working all the hours we could, checking out anything and everything that was new in the world of fashion. Peachy, my assistant, was really overworked too.
Peachy?
No. I'd been working non-stop for the magazine for 5 years. My health was really suffering. I'd started smoking and drinking too much. I knew I had to turn my life around and break out of these bad habits, but there was nowhere to go.
But just look at you now. So different. So much less stressed. What happened?
You know, Karen, I'd been putting up with the stress at work for so long. But one day, I just decided I'd had enough. I realised that some people out there were doing things differently. And then I met a photographer.
Judith's certainly an interesting woman, isn't she?
Yes, it's quite difficult to make big changes to your life.
And now to our question. What does Judith do now?
It's a website for a company that sells African fabrics and designs. It's owned by a friend of mine called Judith.
So, she has a company which sells African fabrics, telas and designs.
In the video, we heard people narrating past events using different past tenses, such as the past perfect simple and continuous.
After we'd been working together at Femme magazine for 3 or 4 years, she decided she'd had enough of journalism. I'd been looking for someone to interview for ages, and when I saw this, I knew I'd found the perfect candidate.
We use the past perfect to describe a completed event that happened before another event in the past.
And the past perfect continuous to show that something started in the past and continued until another time in the past.
So, Kieran, why did you quit your last job?
Well, I'd been working on the same programme for several years and I hadn't received a pay rise, so I decided it was time for a change.
We can also use on, before or after with ing to organise facts and events in a story.
Before undertaking your last big decision or project, had you set yourself personal goals and targets? After watching the news, I decided it was time for dinner. So, on removing my seafood dish from the microwave, I sprinkled it with a dash of chili sauce.
Before coming here today, I went to my Zumba class.
On arriving at the studio, I made myself a strong black coffee.
Was that to keep you awake, Kieran?
No. Now let's watch the second part of the video.
As you watch, answer this question. Why did Judith give up her job at the magazine?
Hi, can I help you?
Yes, I'm Judith. I've come to pick up some photos.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm Remy.
You're the photographer, right? They're amazing. How'd you make them look so natural?
Well, I used to go and hang out in places where I knew people would be working or meeting. People would forget I was there, so I started taking pictures.
You became part of the scenery.
Yes, I was invisible to them, like magic. These women all worked for an artisan and fabric cooperative in Tanzania. I visited the cooperative to find out more. Every day, they would come to work, create beautiful fabrics and objects, and then share any profits they made. I'd never seen anything like it before.
They're so beautiful.
I don't sell these pictures, but it would be my pleasure to give one of them to you.
Really? Thank you so much. Well, I'd better go. My boss wants to speak to me. It's so nice to have met you.
Wow. Like, it's just totally amazing. More than amazing. It's brilliant. Fantastic. Absolutely fabulous. I mean, you, the new fashion editor. You'll be in charge of this whole department. Things are really going to take a turn for the better now.
Well, yeah, I suppose so.
And that means you'll get to see even more of me. And that's brilliant. Right?
Brilliant. Yeah.
We can make the magazine even bigger and better. Remember how you used to have all those crazy ideas about African designs and traditional crafts in South America? I thought you were mad.
Did you? Really?
Yeah. Well, now we can just concentrate on the important things. Paris Fashion Week, haute couture, all the top designers, interviews with the rich and famous. Hey, Judith, where are you going? We've got work to do. Come back.
So you just gave up the job and walked out?
Yes. I realised I'd been living a lie. I used to go to work every day and just do what I had to do, but I wasn't being true to myself. I knew I had to quit.
Well, I think it's amazing and so brave. Listen, could I use your story for an article? I could call it Fashion Changed My Life. It'll be about ethical trading and overcoming difficulties to achieve what you really believe in. What do you say?
I say, of course you can.
Oh, great.
So, Judith is happy with her new life, and Karen's going to use her story for her article about ethical trading.
That's right. But why did Judith give up her job at the magazine?
I realised I'd been living a lie. I used to go to work every day and just do what I had to do, but I wasn't being true to myself. I knew I had to quit.
She realised that she'd been living a lie. She wasn't being true to herself.
I think she did the right thing.
In the video, people talked about habits in the past using used to and would.
Well, I used to go and hang out in places where I knew people would be working or meeting. People would forget I was there, so I started taking pictures.
When I lived next to the park, I'd go running there every day.
Or, when I lived next to the park, I used to go running every day.
But to talk about past states, we can only use used to.
When I was a little girl, I used to be very shy.
Really? I find that hard to believe.
Well, let's hear what people in the street say about changes in their lives.
We asked them, what are the most important decisions you have made in your life?
To leave my country and come to England.
I went to university to be a primary school teacher, qualified as a primary school teacher. I did it for about 8 months, and then I took the decision to resign pretty much on the spot and pursue my passion for fitness. So I've been doing that full time ever since. So I think that was the biggest decision. It was more of an overnight sort of, yeah, I'm going to do it, go, and off I went.
Changing career is a very important decision for me. Obviously, it's what I'm going to be doing in the future for a long time to come. But I had a good career where I was before. I just wasn't very happy.
Probably getting married the second time, I think, which I've been happily married now for 10 years in July. So that's probably the most important decision in my life.
Having a family, very important. And then getting married.
To live my life for God. And a second to that would be to get married to my loving husband, who I love dearly. We've been married nearly 40 years, so...
Perhaps moving to St Albans and choosing to be independent.
Dropping out of university. I didn't want to carry on with the study, but everyone else wanted me to, but I wanted to be a hairdresser, so I dropped out, and that's what I do now.
Probably getting divorced, deciding to get divorced, even though I didn't want to.
So, as you'd expect, big life decisions are things like getting married and having a family, getting divorced and changing career.
Or dropping out of university and becoming a hairdresser.
The most important decision I ever made was coming to work with you on That's English.
I'm sure it was. Well, I'm afraid that's the end of today's programme.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.